last week I decided I wanted to hop onto the Nuzlocke train and do my first Nuzlocke ever in Sword and Shield. I've only really ever played through Sinnoh and Unova and played the game to beat it and never played it again. But with all of the Nuzlocke videos that have been coming out recently, I got really interested in trying to do Nuzlocke myself in Sword and Shield. The reason I picked Sword and Shield is because being a competitive person at heart, I wanted to make the Nuzlocke competitive. And I figured the best way to do that was to include more people with that. So I asked my friend Manic to play with me in a competitive Cagelocke. Now, with the way that people talk about Sword and Shield being easy, I figured that it'd be an absolute breeze. No. First, we've got the basic Nuzlocke rules. 1 Pokemon per route, first encounters only. Because we are playing in Galar, each separately named location in the wild area counts as a different route. Additionally, Overworld Pokemon don't count except in the Galar Mines number 1 and 2. So if you run into an Overworld Pokemon, then it does not count as your first encounter and you cannot catch it. You must nickname all of your Pokemon. If they faint, they are dead forever and must be released or permanently boxed. Duplicates don't count. And then the rules we added for the Cagelocke part of the Nuzlocke are as follows. After every gym, we battle each other with the Pokemon that we took into the gym. If some of your Pokemon die during the challenge or to the gym leader, tough luck, you can't use them for the Cagelocke and you can't replace them from your boxes. Cagelocke matches are played in a competitive rule set, so it is bring 6, choose 4. Winning a Cagelocke battle counts as 1 point, while the Cagelocke directly after the championship circuit counts for 3 points. The winner of the Cagelocke also chooses 1 Pokemon from the losing player's party and box to eliminate. You cannot level past the gym leader's ace. Dynamax is enabled, but it is heavily discouraged. Because this is both mine and my friend Manic's first Nuzlocke ever, and we are playing with another person that's out of our control, we tossed in a few rules to act as kind of safety nets in case the worst happens. We didn't want to frustrate the other player by one player having to restart several times just to try to get through the Nuzlocke. First rule is that a whiteout doesn't mean game over, but all of your Pokemon obviously are fainted and must be boxed and released, and then you have to pull from your PC box. If your box is empty, you can use a fainted Pokemon to catch a Pokemon from an unused and available route. What unused and available means is that it is a route or location that you have not caught a Pokemon from before, and available means that you do not have to do any more story to unlock that area. With the rules out of the way, let's get into it. So first things first, instead of using the in-game starters, we use a random generator to give us our starters. For myself, I got a Scraggy that I named Resistance. Manic rolled a Poliwag that she lovingly named Biggie Smells. I headed out to Route 1 right away, hoping to snag a Blipbug early. Dottler can absolutely roll over the first gym leader, Milo. My first encounter, however, was a Squirvet. I sent out Resistance and started to take it down, and as soon as I got it low, it unfortunately ate a berry it was holding on to, and in combination with its ability Cheek Pouch, it was instantly back to full HP. Even though the Squirvet was 1 level above Resistance, I still felt pretty confident that Resistance could tank 1 more hit at least before I used a potion, and I went for damage. The Squirvet struck back directly after, and just like that, gone too soon, Resistance fainted. I could not believe that I had just lost my starter to a Squirvet, and not only that, but I was also forced to forfeit my Route 1 encounter because I blacked out. As per the rules though, I was allowed to use Resistance to capture a Rookidee I named Kilometers before I released him. Kilometers immediately proved to be useful, already knowing Hone Claws, which allowed me to set up and easily take down Hop's Wooloo, Grookey, and his own Rookidee. After the battle, I headed to the wild area. In the wild area, Kilometers helped me catch a Swinub, both despite it snowing and Swinub having Ice-type moves against my Rookidee, which are super effective. I named him Roomba, and I was really excited. I love Mamoswine so much. And then I went just a little too deep into the wild area. So, for those of you who don't know, the wild area has levels based off location, and the overworld Pokemon are always higher level, with static encounters like the Onix right outside the gate, usually being ridiculously high levels for when you're intended to go there. I went to the Dappled Grove, a location I vaguely remembered from my first playthrough of being close to the early game. I encountered a Vanillite in the Dappled Grove, and it was very much catchable. It was only level 11. The Vanillite quickly froze Kilometers to death, and I was forced to use Roomba. Swinub's lowest stat is special defense, and even though it was neutral damage, Roomba was one-shot by weather-boosted wind. I should have swallowed my pride and forfeited the encounter, and as now again I've lost all of my Pokemon, and I have to forfeit the encounter anyway. I used my fainted Pokemon to catch Sydney the Krabby, despite her best efforts to get away from the murderous trainer that was trying to catch her. Sydney helped me catch a Badoo I named Sweeney, and I decided I was finished with trying to catch anything in the wild area. I could not handle any more losses. I quickly beat Team Yell in the hotel, and participated in the opening ceremony held by the chairman, Rose. Rose sure does seem like a great guy. I mean, he wouldn't ever do anything wrong, I don't think. Come on, he has an ear piercing. After the opening ceremony, I fished up Cry the Magikarp. Hop challenged me again before Route 3, and I led with Sweeney. Sweeney had growth and Mega Drain at this point, so she seemed like my best bet to wear down Hop until I won. I used multiple growths in order to stack up in preparation for the Rookidee, but Hop's Rookidee landed a critical blow with Pluck, and Sweeney fainted. I switched in Sydney, which was arguably underleveled for this encounter, and I spammed Harden to prepare for Grookey in an attempt to be able to beat the Grass type with the Water type. After I spammed Harden, I Metal Clawed my way to victory. On to Route 3. I caught Chopper the Machop, and in the Galar Mines, I picked up a Carkol I named Falcon. Falcon swept through the battle with Bayday, and I snagged a Joltik named Static on Route 4. My strategy going into the Milo battle was for Falcon to burn everything to the ground. Falcon was both at the level cap, and being a fire type with Flame Charge seemed to be the best choice in order to take out the gem. What I didn't expect was for Falcon to take as much damage as he did from Milo's ace, Eldegoss. Left on 10 HP from a Dynamax move, there was no chance that Falcon would survive anything else. And I had to make a decision. With the upcoming cage match, I'd be down a Pokemon if I lost one to Milo, but there didn't seem a way around losing a Pokemon with 2 turns of Dynamax remaining. I had to decide who I wanted for the cage match, and ultimately I chose Falcon due to him already being evolved into Carkol. With Chopper still a long way off from Machoke, I swapped him in to take the fall. Chopper fainted, but I was able to heal up Falcon, and he finished off Milo. Cage match time. My rival Manic had done very well for herself and had a selection of Pokemon for our duel. I led with Static and Falcon while she led with her Poliwag and Pidove. Static's spread move Electroweb was my best shot at winning the battle. Falcon impressively survived a ×4 Bubble Beam from Poliwag and got an Ancient Power off into Pidove to finish him off. Pidove was then replaced by a Drillbur, a terrifying foe. Falcon somehow survived a Metal Claw from Drillbur, and Static now outsped Poliwag after the first Electroweb to get the feint. It was now 2 Pokemon to 3. It seemed like there was a chance for me to win the battle. There was just one problem. Drillbur was still alive, and Static has almost no way to deal damage to him. Falcon finally fell to another Metal Claw, and with his dying breath, he burned Drillbur with his ability Flame Body. While I did technically have another Pokemon in Cry, a Magikarp with Tackle doesn't really do much. Static couldn't handle the damage, and I ended up losing the battle. Manic executed Falcon, and we moved on to Route 5. Rest in peace. Route 5 starts off with a double battle against a Helios and a Klinkling. And with just Static and Cry in my party, I had to train up. As soon as Cry evolved into a Gyarados, though, I was good to go. I picked up Polkadottler on Route 5 and easily swept Hop. In Hulbury, I got the sweetest little Chinchou and I named her Poppy. And just like that, Gym 2 was already up. While Milo surprised me with his Eldegoss damage, Nessa was a different beast altogether. Her damage is no surprise. Her ace Dreadnought hurts a ton, and with Swift Swim after it sets up Rain, it almost always goes first. Without a grass type, Nessa was going to be quite tricky. I led with Static and swept her early Pokemon, and then out came her Dreadnought. Static went down in a blur, and Cry had to take up the mantle. Cry was able to tank the rest of Dreadnought's Dynamax, and took out the Dreadnought with Waterfall. Nessa was defeated, but only after losing a Joltik. With Nessa defeated, it was time to duel Manic. I led with Cry and Poppy, and was faced with Poliwhirl and a Tranquil. With Cry's Intimidate weakening Poliwag, the fight was already in my favor. Expecting a double up into Cry, being a Gyarados, I swapped her out for Polkadottler, but was surprised when Poppy was actually the target of a Hypnosis from Poliwhirl. With Polkadottler in against Tranquil, a flying type, and Poppy asleep, I had nearly screwed myself over. I swapped Cryin for Poppy, who was napping on the job, and Polkadottler tanked a Bubble Beam and an Air Cutter to live on 10 HP. Polkadottler set up a light screen, and with that, Cry was ready to start damaging. Poliwhirl missed a Hypnosis on Cry, and That was the final straw. Cry spammed Waterfall onto Manic's ground types, and I won the second gym badge, evening the score 1-1. I chose to execute Manic's Drillbur, and it was on to the second Galar Mine. I caught Splooshy in the mines and jumped back to the wild area to catch Garrett the Pitta before challenging Bede. Cry easily swept Bede with Crunch, and Kabu's Fire Gym was next up. Outside of the mine, I snatched up Bucky the Sociable, and with 4 water types on my team, I wasn't too worried about the gym. Since Kabu's gym technically counts as a separate location, we decided that just like in the Galar mines, we could make a catch here. I caught Pop at the Litwick and challenged Kabu. Kabu's lead was Ninetales against my Gyarados, and with her speed, she landed a burn on Cry, which complicated things. I had to switch her out for Bucky, who took down the Ninetales, but with some trouble, and Bucky really took too much damage from Kabu's Arcanine, and I had to switch her out for Splooshy. Splooshy took a Will-O-Wisp, but I wasn't so worried about that since Splooshy is a special attacker and not a physical one, so her attack stat isn't really hurt by a Will-O-Wisp. She Water Pulsed the Arcanine, getting a confusion, and the Arcanine took himself out for me. The real challenge of the gym was Kabu's Gigantamax Centiskorch. Since Splooshy has Recover, I decided to leave her in and just try to heal my way through the damage. Centiskorch, however, didn't go for its G-Max Fire-type move, but instead used a Bug-type move, which Splooshy does not resist, and Splooshy fainted. Losing her did make me cry just a little bit. I sacked Bucky and a Corphish I caught from the wild area into the rest of the Dynamax turns, and Cry finished off the battle. Cry was really becoming the superhero I needed, but definitely didn't deserve. Once again, I only had 3 Pokemon available for the Cagelocke match. Manic had suffered at the hands of Bede though, and she only had 2 Pokemon remaining. A Litwick from Kabu's gym and a Machoke. Cry and Garrett swept the battle with Manic, and I was up a badge. I refilled my party from the wild area spots Kabu's gym unlocked and headed to Hammerlock. I was excited to be up a badge, and the future was looking bright. I was confident. Then I walked into this mother hecker's door. The bakery in Motostoke had a single Combi who was level 10, so I wasn't really worried about taking on the Hammerlock bakery. I mean, after all, it's just a bakery, right? It was a mistake, an error, and a miscalculation. The Slurpuff and Alcremie were nearly 10 levels above my Pokemon, and an absolute slaughter ensued. Despite Cry's best efforts, she couldn't carry the team through another battle. Parties of Pokemon were on my hands. Stained red and staggering, I pulled Unwanted the Binacle and Trust Me the Impotent from the box. I went to the wild area to get some more Pokemon, and lost Trust Me to a Nuzleaf that I eventually caught and named Nipmilk. With Chlorophyll and being a grass type, Nipmilk was set to take Cry's place as team captain on the next route, Route 6. I leaf stoned Nipmilk into a Shiftry and took on the route, and immediately lost everything again. There's a double battle in the route that has a Pawniard, and for some reason, God knows why, this Pawniard knew Fury Cutter. Why a Dark and Steel type knows a bug move at this level is beyond me. There was just one more location available to me in the wild area, and the Pokemon that presented itself to me was a Bronzor. I named it Hope, as it was my last hope. I got through a little bit more of the story until I got to where I could fight Bia, and I snuck past the gym to catch a Shinotake from the Glimmering Tangle. This was my party going into the gym fight with Bia. Outstanding, I know. My best plan was for Bronzong to sweep, due to having high defenses and powerful Psychic-type moves against a Fighting-type gym leader. If Bronzong fell, Shinotake should be able to use Strength Sap until they were weak and then wear the gym down. But alas, it didn't go to plan. It never does. And after falling to Bia, there were no more available locations for me to get any Pokemon. And after wiping several times, which would have forced restarts in any other Nuzlocke, I was finally down and out. Manic claimed victory of the Nuzlocke as the last standing, and we finally reset. Losing Pokemon like Cry, Splooshy, and my starter at the very start of the game broke my heart. Thank you for watching, and if you want to watch all of the VODs, I'm uploading them to the YouTube channel, and they are also on my Twitch at A Year in One Day. And keep an eye out for the next recap, which I'm sure to perform better in as a trainer.